Hey everybody, welcome back to Spinach Salad. I'm Sal, and today I'm going to show you a game that I worked on called Metroid Escape version 1.0. This is the NES Metroid escape sequence from the 1986 original game, and I did what I could to recreate it, and at the very end of it, it does have a couple fatal flaws, and my biggest pet peeve about it is that every single wall texture is 1 pixel off, and I always have to tell people that because it irritates me. So there's the game ID right there. I'm going to give you a showcasing of it, and I'm actually going to go into the coding and tell you a little bit about it. So as you can see here, I immediately tried to give credit to Mr. Alfos in Restaurant. Mr. Alfos, aka Mr. Observer, is the one who did the entire animation for Samus here. And so here's the issue, right? At first it was like getting her to move back and forth, and then it was the whole running animation thing, and then the jumping animation, because I tried to do it myself, but then I ran into the issue where her arm cannon's on one arm and not on the other arm, right? So it's actually double-sided. Every single texture here has 2 different textures for both the left and the right side, and by some miracle Mr. Alfos found a way to do both of those, and the jumping animations are also double-sided. However, I was using a reference, right, for all the textures, and in my reference, I didn't realize it was a customized texture pack. And in the original game, she's not double-sided. She has her arm cannon teleport to both arms, which I didn't remember, and I didn't check it until I was done. So I accidentally gave him extra work, so sorry about that, Mr. Alfos. But I'm really glad with the way it came out. I think it looks really great and really smooth. I didn't have to do anything to tweak it, but if I did have to tweak it, it probably would have broken. Because I did not have a big enough brain for that. As it was, several people helped me with this part, but the part where the camera or the game screen does not move to the left or the right as I'm moving to the left and the right, that was the Game Builder Garage Discord helped me out with that, because as it turns out, it's the simplest thing in the world. The game screen has settings, which I just totally blanked on. I'm like, game screen settings, what? I was trying to connect all these node-ons, like 100 node-ons to the camera and the game screen to try to get it to not scroll, and then it was literally just turn off. What was it, like vertical tracking or horizontal tracking? Yeah, turn off horizontal tracking. I'll show you guys in a second. Yeah, I drew everything in this. Everything here was drawn by me. The music, the entire custom background music soundtrack was 100% done by Reshiram. Yeah, he did that entire thing. So let's go into the coding. And, oh right, I forgot about this beeping thing. I should probably turn that off as I'm showing you everything. Give me a second. Okay, I found the beeping, so we're just gonna turn this off really quickly. Bye-bye. We don't need you right now. I did the beeping, but someone in my Twitch chat did help me out with getting it in the right key and making sure it was the right speed and everything. That was the very last thing I did, actually. That's why I don't know why I put it here, but this is, oh, I know why I put it here, because this was the second to last thing that I did. This is the HUD. So I drew all these textures, the energy texture, the energy pack texture, these 2 dots, which are separate because at first they weren't separate, but then I realized they had to be separate, the 99, and then here's my very jank HUD. Don't judge me. Here's the counter, and then here's the timer. The timer is not 999 literal seconds, because it wasn't 999 literal seconds in the game, and I wanted to create a faithful recreation of this. So you actually only have a little over 2 minutes to do this. You have like a minute and a half. And then the explosion part that like takes up your entire screen, that I don't know, I put it over there. That actually activates when the timer is about 30 seconds. And part of the reason I did that is that even if you get to the top, by the time you get near the elevator, there's just not enough time for the elevator to go all the way up to end the game. So it doesn't even matter. If you see the explosions, it's game over unless you're on the elevator. That's part of the reason why I did that. The other part was I wanted to make sure you actually saw the explosions and the explosions didn't go to waste. I also created this. If I ever create the ending, I created a swap game node on for this, but if not, it just ends the game. Even if you don't have the game, you don't have the game because I didn't make it yet. It's right there. And then here's an elevator that I worked on, and I was trying to figure out how to make it so like you wouldn't go off the elevator. And so in order to do that, I teleport some invisible boxes next to it here. So once you're on the elevator, it's all done, and then the elevator goes up here, and when it touches the sensor, it turns off. But I had an issue here because I'll show you in a second. But I actually had to move the sensor back here and change the size of the elevator because of something that I'll show you in a second. Let me just teleport down here. This is Mr. Alfos' work. I credited him here, and I credited him here in case people didn't zoom in. But if you come over here, all of this was him. I physically drew Samus 100 times because I kept messing up. And if you mess up one pixel, you have to redraw the whole thing. But he did all of this. I don't even know what this is. Some sort of brilliant thing here. Because, what was I saying? Oh, he attached her to a box, and the boxes are down here. And because she's a box, I wanted the endgame node on to trigger when the elevator touches a certain part, which is a box, but she touches it beforehand because she's a box too. So I had to move it in the background. So that's why if you look behind here, oops, what happened? Where'd everything go? Whatever. If you go behind the thing, you will find the thing. Yeah, so here's the game screen. And if you go into the game screen settings, if it lets me go into the settings, come here. You can see I've turned off the horizontal tracking rate, and that is what causes it to go up and down without moving from side to side. Then here are all the textures and my disclaimer somewhere up here. Here's, I'll show you the disclaimer in a second. These are some other textures. Here's the swap game node on target. If I create a Mother Rain boss fight, that's there. These are unused texture things. This is when I was trying to create the person node on textures myself. I just left these in here for some reason. And these are some unused textures that I don't know. I left them there. And then this is Reshiram's incredible background music custom soundtrack. It starts on start, and here's the whole composition. He also created a theme from Mother 3. You should definitely check out Reshiram's stuff, because Reshiram, this is not his first rodeo. He's done music stuff before, and it's all incredible. He actually created the Metroid title screen theme for his Metroid title screen, if that makes any sense. I featured it in my February recap. You should definitely check that out. His programmer ID, again, I'll show it for the third time. It's right here. He made some bombastic games, and you should 100% see them because he's an S-tier creator. And it just blows my mind what he was able to do. I could never. That's why it was so generous of him to do this for me. Anyway, all of these blocks are 1 pixel off, and I fixed these ones. You can see what I did is I added pixels to the top, and then I erased them from the top here to make it look the way it's supposed to. But I didn't want to go back and redraw every single one because this took hours and hours and hours, and I'm like, you know what, I think I'm just kind of done redrawing them over and over again. So these ones are cheaply fixed. Here's my cute little elevator. Be proud of me. It's adorable. I had to redraw this repeatedly too because I couldn't figure out how I wanted to center it properly on the box. And then there's just some other stuff. One thing in development I was trying to think of is I was thinking of, instead of having these black backgrounds, not that you see this part, but like the parts in between, I wanted to make these see-through because in the original game they were actually see-through. But it didn't quite work out because when Samus, like if you jump to the side here on one of these walls with one of these textures, it doesn't look right, and then it doesn't match up with the other ones because of the way the sun's positioned, because I couldn't get the lighting to work properly. So I just had a meltdown and gave up. In the original game, this climb is 1 series taller. However, for whatever reason, I made everything huge. This is me fully zoomed out, and that's the top of the screen. The reason I made everything so big initially was because I think it was the person node on texture. The way I was originally going to do that, it needed to be bigger. And certain other textures, they needed to be a specific size. So because of the textures, I made everything as big as possible. However, that made it so I couldn't make the sequence as tall as it's supposed to be. So I mean, but it's literally, no one really notices this as they're playing it, but this is literally the exact same thing over and over again. I copied it thing by thing, platform by platform from the original game. This is the way that it was. This is the way that it is. And it's supposed to be taller, but nobody cares, honestly. And no one wants it to be longer, so whatever. I'm not fixing that. I apologize for the beeping if you do come in here. I turned it off by literally deleting the beeping, but whatever. And then if you want to check out that title screen by Reshiram, this is his code right here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little in-depth see-through behind the scenes of the code. Thank you to everyone who helped me out with this, Reshiram, Mr. Alfos, and everyone who gave me tips and tricks on how to do pretty much everything, because it was a struggle for me to figure it out on my own. This has been in development since I got the game. Day one, I started working on this game, June 11th, 2021, and it took me until February 25th, 2022 to finish it. It took a very long time. Part of the reason for that was I was playing other games and doing other things, but the other part is I'm just bad at creating games. So I continue to play games and share them with you guys, and hopefully the games that I share with you, you have enjoyed. Let me know what you think of my game in the comments below if you've checked it out and what you think of it. It was mostly intended to just be a parody recreation. It wasn't intended to be the most fun game in the world. If you want the most fun games in the world, check out Reshiram's games, check out Uma's games, check out Jeff's games, check out the other games I have put in the Game Builder Garage playlist on this channel, because they actually make fun games. Fun, original games you should definitely play. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a good day. Stay awesome, stay gaming, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!